If your back pain is coming back again and again and again, then this is the video for you. We're going to talk about why this happens and what you're doing throughout the day that might be causing some of your pain, because if you don't address those pieces, then that's a problem. That's why it comes back. Having back pain is the number one predictor of having back pain again. It's common to have back pain when you've had it. It may come back in a year, but then the third time it comes back, it might be 6 months, and then they start getting shorter and shorter in time. The other thing that happens when you have reoccurring back pain is each time that you have it, it gets a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse. We have so many people that come through here, through our office, and they've had it for 10 years off and on, and then it's like, it's really bad by the time they get to us. If you can start solving these problems at the very early on, when it first starts happening, that is key to success long term. Now, if you go to a doctor, all they're going to tell you is, oh, it'll go away eventually. Here's some medications and just rest, which is the worst advice that you can get. The worst, because oftentimes movement is what makes it feel better. It's just like there's a specific movement that makes it feel the best. And if you're like, yeah, if I get up and I move around, I feel better, that's a mechanical thing. That's not a chemical thing, which is what drugs do. They treat the chemical side of things. It's not going to help you. And you're going to be like, I've done this for a month and it really hasn't solved any of my problems, which is really common. So what are the questions that we ask to kind of understand the body a little bit better and to understand what we're doing throughout the day that might be giving us problems? So first thing, it's we call it the better worst like kind of section. So what are some things that make you feel better? Like lying down, does that make you feel better or worse? In the morning, does that make you feel better or worse? As the day goes on, does that make you feel better or worse? Sitting, does that make you feel better or worse? If you've been sitting and you're trying to stand up and you feel like you're 80 years old, that obviously is worse. Is walking, does that make you feel better or worse? Standing, does that make you feel better or worse? Like start going through the activities that you know. Bending, is that something that makes you feel better and worse? You'll start having patterns and start thinking about, like, typically what we see is they don't want to bend because it hurts them. Sitting gives them problems. If it doesn't give them problems, initially they feel better, but then when they stand up, they have a hard time standing up, and that's a problem. So actually sitting doesn't make them feel better on those cases. These are activities that are bending our spine, and so that's where we have to start making adjustments to those things that we're doing. A lot of times I'll say too, when they start feeling better, like our activities like I feel better when I stand, I feel better when I'm moving, I feel better when I'm walking, I feel better lying down. All these things, the position of it is in a more extended position. So when we stand, we're going to be a more straight up position. Walking is little mini extensions because our pelvis moves back and forth. When we lie down, we're actually in a little bit more of an extended position. These all are things that make us feel better. So we know that that's the direction that we have to move more into those positions. And so if you're noticing all these things that make you feel worse initially, we've got to make adjustments to those. That's part of the lifestyle thing. So if you're feeling worse in the morning, we'll make adjustments to how you're sleeping. Are you sleeping in a bent position? So if you wake up and you have some pain, or you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're having some pain, go wake up and see what position that you're in. Because if you're in that fetal position, again, you're in that flex position. It makes sense. You're going to have to get out of that position. We're going to have to make you where your body is a little bit more straight. You might have to have a towel roll underneath your back a little bit to give you a little bit of support of lying flat. These are things that we have to make adjustments to, because if we don't, it doesn't matter what we do. It's like stabbing a wound. You're stabbing the wound every time you get in these positions, and your body will never heal, which is why you'll stop everything, you'll take medications, and you'll rest, and it goes away, but you go back to the same activities that give you those same problems, and it comes back again. And so these are the activities that we have to make adjustments to. Sitting, if sitting is a problem, you're going to want to sit with like some support, like lumbar support, so that you are more supported in that position. Or maybe you need to get a standing desk, and that's going to help you feel better with if you have to sit all day. So there's a lot of adjustments that we can make where you can stand part of the day, you can sit part of the day. Those are all things that we can do. So, if you're someone that likes to garden, you're going to have to take more breaks, and you're going to have to do some stretches to go in the reverse direction, because if we're bending like this, we want to go in the reverse direction and start moving the back in a more extended position repeatedly, and it will start easing our symptoms. So again, the better worse section is what really helps us in understanding your lifestyle and what we need to do to literally start calming things down and teaching you what you're doing that's creating some of those issues. So my next video will be kind of exercises, not really a protocol, but kind of how we guide people through the most common thing we see for back pain. Like 80% of people will end up having, will end up going into kind of this category. So it'll work for a lot of people. So make sure you stay tuned for our next video that comes out, because it's going to be on 5 exercises that's going to only take you 8 minutes, start giving you some relief now. And that is what is coming up next on the next video that's popping up. Again, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to our channel, comment below if you have any questions on your back pain, and share this with anyone that needs to hear this message. And again, so summing it all up, again, the reason why your back pain keeps on coming back and again is because of what you're doing throughout the day. So you stop doing some of those things, you start feeling a little bit better, you go into a little bit of activity that makes you feel a little bit better, it starts healing enough, but then you go back into the same things that created your pain to begin with, and no one gives you awareness around that or understanding what you're doing that creates the back pain. It's also the number one reason why when people have back surgery, again, they don't know what created their back pain. It creates a second back surgery and a third back surgery. It's really common. We do 200% more back surgeries in this country than anywhere else. And so we've got to stop this. And what a big piece of us stopping this is you understanding what you're doing throughout the day. Okay, well, I'll see you next time.